All through the night, a silent conflict between man and nature is taking place. The wild hog, which is an invasive animal, has emerged as one of the most significant dangers to agricultural production in the United States. Within the span of a single night, they are capable of destroying everything that stands in their way, from expansive cornfields to the foliage that surrounds rural neighborhoods. It is believed that wild hogs cost the United States of America over $2.50 billion annually. In addition to destroying crops, wild hogs also cause huge economic damage. Agriculturalists have resorted to the use of high-tech traps and corral systems in order to combat the problem in open or flat areas. Did you know that during the course of its career, a single wild boar was capable of destroying between 1 and 2.5 acres of land? It is possible for an adult wild boar to cause damage to corn or other crops that ranges from $4,000 to $6,000 in just 1 year. Since wild boars have a rapid reproduction rate and an unrelenting propensity for damage, each individual wild boar is a threat that cannot be understated. Certain farmers opt to form partnerships with wildlife management businesses in order to manage wild boars in expansive farmlands that are adjacent to dense forests. This is because it is much more difficult to control wild boars in these areas. The use of helicopters for the purpose of managing wild boar populations is referred to as aerial intervention services. These services are subject to stringent regulations and require authorization from landowners in addition to permits from the relevant authorities. It is common for participants to pay anything from $1,500 to $2,500 for this one-of-a-kind event, which involves soaring through the air and assisting in the control of wild hogs like something in an action movie. Although the wild boar herd swiftly disperses into smaller groups as the helicopter takes chase, the accurate marksmanship of the chopper ensures that none of the animals are able to evade capture. In the end, not a single boar is able to escape, despite the fact that each shot is a difficulty, and for each one to be successful, considerable concentration and expertise are required. When it comes to measures of control, one of the more expensive options is to hunt wild boars from their aircraft. The hunt, on the other hand, is not just a quest for many people. Rather, it is an opportunity to relax and release stress after long and strenuous days of work. Not only are they safeguarding agricultural land, but they are also making a contribution to the preservation of the natural ecological balance and contributing to the conservation of the environment. Despite the fact that aerial hunting is extremely efficient, it is not without its inherent dangers. As little as one mistake can result in catastrophic accidents. In order to avoid inadvertently shooting cattle or even people, hunters are need to maintain a state of constant vigilance and be prepared to meet any threats such as mid-air collisions. It takes a tremendous amount of time, concentration, and money to complete each flight. The complete eradication of wild boars is a goal that is both lofty and challenging to achieve. Therefore, in this continual conflict, even if the threat cannot be completely eradicated, it is important to celebrate even the smallest of victories. In spite of this, the hunters continue to battle, clinging to the hope that one day, wild boars will no longer be allowed to roam free without being controlled. All day long, this conflict is still going on. Are there any ways that we can truly preserve our farmlands from the havoc that wild boars cause? I can say with absolute certainty that this is just one of many battles that are being fought to protect agriculture and the environment. Beyond the immediate threat to crops and property, wild hogs also pose a significant ecological challenge. Their constant rooting and foraging not only destroy plants, but also disrupt soil composition, leading to erosion and loss of fertile topsoil. This disturbance creates an environment in which invasive plants can thrive, further destabilizing local ecosystems. As a result, the problem extends far beyond agricultural losses. It has the potential to alter entire landscapes and the delicate balance of native wildlife. Moreover, wild hogs are vectors for disease, capable of spreading pathogens such as swine brucellosis and pseudorabies. These diseases can affect both domestic livestock and wildlife populations, creating another layer of concern for farmers and conservationists alike. In regions where wild boars are abundant, the threat of disease outbreaks adds pressure on communities, often forcing the adoption of strict biosecurity measures and increased veterinary monitoring. Interestingly, innovative technologies are emerging to address the wild hog problem in ways that go beyond traditional hunting. Smart sensors, remote camera traps, and even AI-assisted tracking systems are being used to monitor their movements in real time. By combining data analytics with ground-level interventions, wildlife managers can predict hog behavior patterns, optimize trap placement, and reduce collateral damage to other wildlife species. These high-tech solutions represent a new frontier in human-animal conflict management, highlighting the potential for science to complement more conventional methods. Another fascinating aspect of this ongoing struggle is the role of community engagement. In many rural areas, local residents participate in organized hog drives, which coordinate the efforts of multiple hunters over large tracts of land. This cooperative approach not only increases the effectiveness of control efforts, but also fosters a sense of shared responsibility for protecting the land. The social dimension of wild hog management underscores how human communities are deeply intertwined with the ecosystems they inhabit, making every action, small or large, part of a larger environmental story. Yet, even with all these measures, the wild hog problem remains relentless. Their adaptability, intelligence, and sheer reproductive power make them a constantly evolving challenge. Experts note that efforts to control populations must be continuous and adaptive. Any lapse can allow herds to rebound quickly, undoing months of hard work. This ongoing cycle of action and response mirrors a broader truth about humanity's relationship with nature. It is rarely about complete domination, but rather about coexistence and resilience in the face of disruption. In the end, the fight against wild hogs is emblematic of a larger struggle, the tension between human development and the natural world. While each helicopter, flight, trap, and hunt may seem like a small battle, collectively they represent a broader commitment to safeguarding both livelihoods and the environment. The story of wild hogs is not just about destruction. It is also about ingenuity, perseverance, and the enduring effort to find harmony in landscapes constantly shaped by both human hands and wild instincts. Furthermore, the wild hog problem reveals how human intervention often sparks unexpected consequences in ecosystems. Attempts to reduce hog populations in one area can inadvertently push them into neighboring lands, where they encounter less resistance and cause fresh devastation. This migratory behavior underscores a critical point. Controlling invasive species is rarely a simple matter of elimination. It requires a coordinated, landscape-level strategy that considers both human activity and wildlife movement. In addition, the presence of wild hogs has sparked a growing interest in ecological research. Scientists are now studying their behavior, social structures, and environmental impact to develop smarter, more sustainable management strategies. For example, understanding the hog's nocturnal habits, feeding preferences, and travel corridors can help farmers anticipate damage before it occurs. This research also provides valuable insights into how other invasive species might be controlled, turning a destructive problem into an opportunity for broader ecological learning. Meanwhile, creative solutions are emerging that blend conservation with economic opportunity. Some regions have begun to market wild hog meat as a specialty product, transforming a pest into a resource. Hunters, restaurants, and local markets benefit from this approach, which not only helps reduce hog numbers but also provides financial incentives for communities to participate in population control. Such strategies demonstrate how innovative thinking can turn a challenge into a potential win-win scenario for both humans and the environment. Moreover, the psychological dimension of managing wild hogs should not be overlooked. The constant vigilance required, coupled with the threat of sudden, unpredictable encounters, has instilled a sense of respect and even fear toward these animals. This human response illustrates a fundamental truth about our relationship with nature. It is complex, emotional, and often guided as much by instinct as by intellect. Finally, the battle against wild hogs serves as a reminder that environmental stewardship is not a passive endeavor. Every action, from high-tech monitoring to community drives, represents a deliberate choice to protect the land, maintain biodiversity, and preserve the future of agriculture. It is a struggle that requires patience, ingenuity, and cooperation. And it emphasizes that true progress comes not from eradicating nature but from understanding and working alongside it. In conclusion, while wild hogs continue to challenge farmers, ecologists, and communities alike, their presence sparks innovation, cooperation, and resilience. The ongoing conflict illustrates a universal lesson. In the interplay between human ambition and the wild, it is adaptability, knowledge, and collaboration that ultimately determine whether we can coexist with the natural world or merely fight to survive within it.